about the evidence for God. And I wanted to avoid just endless quoting of Psalms and other things from the Bible. Now, I have done one actually before called Evidence Number 1, in which I brought up the issue of air and gases. So today, I'm going to bring up evidence number 2, and that is frequency and vibration. And I'm reading from a book which I didn't get around to completing. So I'll just continue on with frequency and vibration. Now, our universe composes of what we conceive. Our universe composes of what we conceive as shapes, forms, mass, dimensions, width, depth, and heights, among other words and terms we may use to describe objects and situations we encounter. I think that if we reduce it down, we will end up with two factors into which all known physical existence, as perceived by our five senses, can be placed. They are frequency and vibration. They are caused by all things, and they are the evidence of all things, from the chirp of a bird to twisting the lid of a jar. An object does not generate noise by the fact it exists. There may be some noise caused by the likes of the wind blowing upon it, but that is the force of air pressure that causes the object to be seen, the source of the noise, but it is not. Once the wind stops, so does the noise. Okay, so what I'm going to be speaking about in this clip is about frequency and vibration, because all things generate it, but we have to get back to the original cause. But I'll continue on. So there's a gale blowing. We can see and hear where its force comes into contact with, say, a concrete pillar or a statue. Another factor is the vibrations caused by it. So, but the vibrations are most likely micro vibrations, causing no immediate damage, but they are vibrations nonetheless. When you hear something, it is frequency. Couple of comments, but nothing worth noting. Frequency causing vibrations. This is what you have to understand. Frequency will cause vibrations, and vibrations will cause frequency. So frequency causes vibrations on your eardrum, which is how you hear, because the five senses, you've got ears which you can hear, which is the result of receiving vibrations and frequency. Now, different frequencies cause different vibrations. It is a combination of both frequencies and vibrations that give input or data to our senses. Um, Frequencies can be heard in the likes of animal noises, people speaking different languages in different accents, industrial machinery, and even in the likes of dropping a plate on the floor. All of these cause, or these occurrences, they cause vibration and it gives the frequency. So, I'm going to go on with frequencies and vibrations, but you can put other things into this, such as wavelength. Now, is there a point of me talking about these things? Well, I just want to tell you, and I suspect you know, that God exists, and it is through the likes of frequencies and vibrations in which we measure existence. I'm not going to go on by quoting the Bible endlessly. I won't. We have to look at it in a scientific way, which people can study upon and relate to. Okay, I want to go on with this part. How do we have different colours? Now, if you have a can of red paint, then how is it red? Paint is not red by default. It has to be coloured by other means. Pigments and dyes have to be processed in order to be added to the paint. And even then, it has to undergo further processing in order to produce a final finished product, making all aspects and combining of the product generates both frequency and vibration. I cannot simply put out my hand and ask you to give me some red, or ask for a yellow, or some blue. If I did ask for a colour, what could you give me? A can of red paint? No, that is paint. A blue jacket? No, that is a jacket. It may be of a colour, but it is not the colour itself. What we understand as frequency and vibration are merely information or data that is inputted and processed by our brains through the five senses. I suppose we can view this situation in that our brains are computers and we are processing binary code that consists of ones and zeros. We could take it further and say that our physical beings are the container or desktop or laptop, and indeed the monitor screen. What we know is in the motherboard, the RAM holds our life force along with electrical wires, circuitry, a modem or Wi-Fi can allow us to detect other machines, such as servers and PCs on a network. But it is the network card that allows us to detect, communicate, and receive to and from all other computers on other networks. So we are somewhat complicated, and everything around us is, but we do have the means to interact the same way God can interact with us. Continuing on, okay, with computers, we can use this example. Let us say you want to send an email from Canada to New Zealand. You would need a computer. From there, you would need a power supply for it, as well as an operating system, an email account, and an internet connection. We may sort of know how it all works, but do we really understand it completely at any given time? The same could be asked in relation to mobile phones. When we talk into a phone and when we listen to the response, it isn't a matter of words being relayed by the phone, or is it really to do with frequency and vibration? So frequency and vibration plays a big part in the way things exist and how we perceive them. Now, we all see expanding ideas in relation to the likes of the internet. One that I note is an idea to transmit data via the electricity supply instead of using the likes of Wi-Fi. But we could expand it to include the likes of infrared technology, X-ray, radar and sonar. Our senses cannot naturally detect the various waves used in these. We can generate these waves via machines, but we need machines in order to detect and be aware through our senses. So we can't detect waves for the most part of our own accord. So, continuing, I cannot ask you to give me some red, nor can I ask for a letter from the alphabet, or even a number. You might write down a number on a piece of paper, but empirically, all you have done is given me a piece of paper with some ink on it, or pencil. A number is a symbolic measurement of objects. A letter is a symbol used to convey a sound. And a colour is just that, a colour. But it all consists of frequency and vibration. And that is just an offhand explanation. There is still the issue of atoms. So, yes, I know this can be an overbearing subject to bring forth, but we have to look at where existence came from. Frequency and vibration. That is what makes up the material world as we understand it. So all solid objects, gases, liquids, everything consists of frequency and vibration in how they came into being. So certainly in relation to physical and material objects, the issue of atoms cannot be denied. The only utmost and definite measure of mass is by the atomic weight. Atoms contain protons, neutrons, and electrons. These are the building blocks of the material world. The alteration of the frequency and vibration of the atoms that form a particular object will cause that object to change form. So we've got water, we've got ice, heat up the ice, it becomes water. It changes. This can be seen in the likes of a jackhammer being used on a concrete wall. The frequency and vibration, in addition to a point of contact, will alter any binding force of that object, that being a concrete wall, causing it to crumble and fall. So, we can go on to this. Let us examine the actual forming of the concrete, which is a combination of cement, powder, sand, gravel, to which is added water. Let's say it's laid for a driveway. There may be some drying chemicals in the poured concrete, but it is heat and gravity that will make it set and then harden. It is force and irresistible power that combines all the elements, factors, and objects, and results in the emanation, creation, formation of an unmovable, irresistible force which can come into action in the world but yet can be altered by frequency and vibration. So, if we view all known existence in a pyramid type shape, there would be an ultimate top or apex. We would see this as power, but power in its various forms and uses gives birth to emanation, resurrection, growth. In fact, we can see this as first breath we take. There is a flow on or trickle down effect. Force plus will plus intellect plus balance plus a state of infinite B equals power. That is perfect because the power has all of these attributes, and we generally recognize this as God. Never beginning and never ending. It just is. So, I've really got nothing else to add. Like I said, this was from a book I was writing, which I never got around to finishing. But I think believers in God and apologetics experts should be, combating these so-called atheists on an even level, not just quote the Bible all the time. But yes, I think we can do it. But anyway, I've pretty much finished, and if anyone wants to say this or act upon it, well, God bless you and guide you in doing so, and in all things. Adieu.